record to this computer. Grand Rising, Elizabeth.
Grand
Grand
Rising.
Grand
Rising.
Rising, Elizabeth Rose. We are
Grand-
so glad to have you here today on the Transformation Tuesday Health and Wellness Show, where me, Stacy Scott, is your co-host, along with Deitra Covington is my co-host today. And I am so glad to have you guys here today. I am not going to prolong anything because we have a wealth of information that we're going to share today about our health and our wellness. And today I am so privileged to have Vince Rountree here, who is my coach, who has transformed my life tremendously in just 2 straight months. And I can just see this going for the rest of my life. What I want to tell you about Vince is he's 62 years and he's a national board certified health and wellness coach and passionate about helping people with weight loss. He's passionate about helping people with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, to reduce their dependency on medications to get them off meds completely. How can he do that? Vince runs a group that is a health coaching business called Redline Challenge or Redline. Redline Results that helps people treat diabetes, obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol using plant-based nutrition. And many people get off meds completely. In 2001, Vince was diagnosed with high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and his doctor gave him a prescription for cholesterol lowering statins. I hate those things. They gave me a prescription too. I never took them. But after seeing family members go on meds and still dying of heart disease, he decided to change his diet and he switched to plant-based nutrition. Yay. In just 6 weeks, his cholesterol dropped from 240 to 132. That is amazing.
Wow.
His blood pressure dropped 30 points and he lost 20 pounds. Vince created the Red Line Challenge that helped people lose weight an average of 4 pounds in the first 5 days without being hungry. And guess what? Without exercising. It has also helped people lower their blood pressure, lowering fasting glucose, and reduce joint pain in just 5 short days. Over 10,000 people have been through the Red Line Challenge, over 10,000 people, and they're still going strong. His education includes a bachelor's in science and chemical engineering from Rutgers College of Engineering. He has a master's business administration from Emory University. He also has a certificate in remission of type 2 diabetes and reversal of insulin resistance. He has a certificate in health coaching from Emory University, certificate in nerve science, Stanford Center of Health Education. He is certified in prevention of cardiology from Stanford Center in Health Education. He got so many certificates here, I'm losing my breath.
You don't have to read them. You don't have to read them.
Plant-based nutrition, I'm going to tell it all. Certificate in plant-based nutrition from Cornell University and certification as a food and life instructor from PCRM. Food for Life is the evidence-based program designed by physicians, nurses, and registered dietitians that offer cancer, diabetes, weight management, and children classes to focus on life-changing effects of health and eating. So I would like to present to you guys Mr. Vince Rountree.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Stacy. So what I have agreed to do today is to share basically 2 presentations in one that I want to shorten to get it in this. So my goal is to get done in 45 minutes so I can save some time for the Q&A. Now, today I'm going to talk about how you can reverse type 2 diabetes and how you can lose weight without being hungry. Those are the 2 things we're going to focus on. And the diabetes talk is so important. And the reason why I put this talk the way that I do is because, unfortunately, what doctors learn in medical school is how to prescribe medicine and how to do surgical procedures. nutrition, using nutrition to reverse chronic disease is not a part of their training, but that's how you can do it. And so when you go to your doctor, they'll tell you, well, type 2 diabetes, a chronic disease, you'll have it the rest of your life. And if your only tool is medicine, they're right. But if your tool is what we're going to talk about today, they're wrong. And it's just, it's horrible that that's the way it is, but that's the way it is. So that's why I'm so excited to share this information with you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to get cranking. I want to use that and that. Okay, and that. Okay, now I need to bring you back to where did the people go? Where did those beautiful faces go? Usually I get a opportunity.
They're on the side. They're on the side here. They're still here.
Okay. All right. And I just want to bring them back on my screen. There it is. Show panel. There it is. There it is. Okay. There you go. All right. Thumbs up if you can see Shattering the Myths of Chronic Disease. You see my screen okay? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Man, thanks for using our logo.
I know.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I thought it was pretty good looking. So I was like, yes, indeed. I am happy to share this so you can see what I think about this organization and how excited I am to be here. All right. So here we go. I first got to start off with a disclaimer. I want you to know what I am, and I want you to know what I am not. I am not a doctor. Want to be clear about that. Number two, I am not a licensed healthcare professional. And number three, I do not give medical advice. So if somebody says, but Vince, I'm taking this medicine, what should I do? I'm sorry, I cannot give medical advice. I won't do that. I can't do that. I am not licensed to do that. So you might be wondering, well, why should you even listen to me? Clearly your doctor knows more. Well, my answer is in three parts. The first part is dietary factors or poor nutrition is the number one cause of death and the number one cause of disability in this country. And I'll show you where that fact comes from. Number two, doctors don't receive any training. Not they receive a little. They don't receive any training on how to reverse chronic disease with nutrition. And number three, for the past 13 years, I've been studying the link between nutrition and chronic disease and have had some incredible results. Now, that first point up there on dietary factors of poor nutrition is the number one cause of death and disability came from this study called the Global Burden of Disease Study. Massive body of work, 500 researchers from 50 different countries. They looked at 291 diseases and 67 risk factors. I'm only going to share two bar graphs from this study. First bar graph, you see in the x-axis is deaths. And the number one risk factor, the longest bar, dietary risk. Tobacco smoking is number two. Who would have thought what you eat has a bigger impact on how long you live than whether you smoke tobacco or not? That's something that you may not have thought about. I didn't know it before I saw these results. And this graph is disability down here on the x-axis. The number one risk factor is dietary risk. Again, tobacco smoking is number two. But this was written in the American Journal of Medicine. Despite the wealth of knowledge linking food and health, nutrition receives little attention in medical practice. This reason stems in large part from severe deficiency of nutrition education at all levels of medical training. But don't take my word for it. Please feel free to ask your doctor, hey doc, how much training did you receive to use nutrition to reverse diabetes? Or how much training have you received using nutrition to reverse heart disease? Or nutrition to reverse cancer? Or using nutrition to reverse anything? That's not what they are taught. In the last 13 years, there's all the stuff that Stacy was saying. I ain't going to read it again, but I got a lot of certifications and I have helped hundreds of people to lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, and more using plant-based nutrition. And I also want you to know this, that I have been hired by many doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners to train them on how to use nutrition to reverse chronic disease, because they don't get it in school. They have seen what I had to offer, and many doctors have hired me to train them. In fact, this talk, I'm going to talk about diabetes, and I want you to know that I earned an 18-hour certification that's entitled Remission of Type 2 Diabetes and Reversal of Insulin Resistance using lifestyle medicine. It was an 18-hour certification. How many doctors do you think have to take this that's treating people with diabetes? None.
No.
Now that's criminal. There is a training out there for doctors that will train them how to put diabetes into remission. And doctors don't have to take that. But that's what I am going to share with you today. Now, let's talk about how to put diabetes into remission. First, we're going to talk about some diabetes facts. 38 million adults have diabetes. That's 14% of the adult population. Another 97 million have pre-diabetes. Most of them aren't aware of that. That's 38%. In other words, over half of all adults have diabetes or pre-diabetes. Don't tell me because it's in your blood. That can't be true. You can't tell me we just born to have diabetes, nothing we can do about it. The problem is the food that's normal for us is causing the problem. And I want you to know that with today's best medical treatment, diabetes is the leading cause of kidney failure. Now, this is if you're taking the drugs, doing everything they ask you to do. Diabetes is the leading cause of kidney failure, leading cause of limb amputation, leading cause of blindness, leading cause of nerve damage. You're on meds for the rest of your life. No possibility of disease reversal or remission. In fact, your doctor's goal, if you have diabetes, your doctor's goal is to manage your A1C. And they're going to do that by giving you medications and telling you to count or restrict your carbs. And I want you to know, if that's all you do, that path will never, never result in remission. In fact, remission of the disease is not even your doctor's goal. And that's what hurts me. And that's why I want to get this information in front of as many people as I possibly can, particularly Black people that look like me, because we need it the most. And this is what they're being taught in medical school today. I go to plant-based nutrition conferences every year. I ran into a young medical school student and I asked him, what are you being taught about type 2 diabetes today? He said, we're being taught it's a chronic disease. You'll have the rest of your life. There is no cure. Okay, there is no cure. And I want you to listen to this videotape of people who have been through my program.
And my A1C, which was right at a 9, is now a 6.
Yes.
And is there anything else on my line?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I got a high five from my doctor, especially when I told him about 3 months ago I had gone whole food plant-based. He was ecstatic.
1 week after I started, I got up in the morning and I was ravenous and I checked my sugar. I called my doctor the next day and he said to stop the metformin altogether.
My sugars have been about 200, and yesterday morning they were around 150, and this morning they were 129.
My A1C was down from 8.3 to 6.1.
Hey, what was you running the week before?
Oh, well, when I'd wake up in the mornings, I'd be well over 200, probably in the 240 range or so.
240.
And that's fasting.
Yeah, fasting 240. And this morning you did it. You woke up and you were what, 119? Is that what you said?
119 this morning.
Another win is my husband is diabetic, and he has really bad neuropathy in his knees and in his feet, and it's starting like he's wobbly, he's falling, and he's younger than me. He's 49 years old, and someone recently told him stop eating meat, stop eating meat, stop eating meat, and he did it for 3 days. He tried it, and he was like, I cannot believe I'm walking without wobbling.
Wait, you've only been on the program for 2 weeks and she's had to lower her insulin twice already?
Yeah. Twice, yes. I think I told you all that my A1C was high and I was considered diabetic. And
Oops, I'm sorry.
Every time I went to the doctors, my sugars were really high. And they did blood work on me. And she asked me, did I know that at 10 o'clock at night after eating all day, my blood sugar was 115? And I said, I didn't know. And I said, I didn't test it. She said, we did at the lab and you were 115. I have never been 115 after eating. Not in probably 2-3 years. Usually after eating, I'm in the 170 to 190 range.
And I love the fact that you said you did it by eating potatoes every day. What about those carbs? There's no way you can lose weight eating those carbs, right?
I am a believer now. I was so skeptical. I was staying away from everything. I was just so scared. And then when I tested my A1C, my blood glucose, I should say, and I've been like in the normal range. So I'm like, what's happening here? I can have potatoes and be in the normal range. So I'm a believer.
Fasting glucose numbers in the morning were normally 170 and above. So over the weekend, I started the challenge. I know it was supposed to start today, but you had told us some things in the videos, and I said, well, I want to eat as much as I want to, and I want to eat some fruits and vegetables that I've never even heard of. And so that's what I did. And so when I woke up this morning, I did my fasting glucose, and it was 90. And it has not been 90 in probably since before 2019. So I'm so excited. I cannot wait for the challenge to start. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. Yes.
You know, let me tell you a little bit about Felicia, the last woman that you heard. She was excited because she was taking 3 different diabetes medications and she still had elevated glucose. Now, for those of you that don't know what glucose numbers where they should be, is you want them to be, if you're fasting, you want it to be between 70 and 100. If it's between 100 and 125, that's pre-diabetes. Anything over 125 is full-fledged diabetes. Well, her fasting glucose was 175, well into the diabetes range, while she was taking 3 meds.
Wow.
And so that's the condition she was in when she started my program. And after 4 days, she stopped taking all meds, and she said her fasting glucose was 90 on 0 medication. Now, she is a fast responder. Everybody is not going to be a fast responder. Everybody's not going to see that type of response, but everybody does see a response. Normally in a day, 2 days, 3 days, you will see some drop in your glucose levels. But she was just over the moon because she just could not believe that she was on no medication and had normal glucose level in just 4 days. That is what can happen if you follow the information that I'm about to share with you, because I'm going to show you the cause of diabetes and how you can reverse it. All right. And I thank you guys that got your camera on, Lakeisha, Tashana, and Evelyn, and my grand rising Elizabeth Calvin. Anybody else that want to turn your camera on so I can see more faces, I would love it, because I get excited if y'all can see. And the energy that I see coming back from you, it just makes me go even more. So if you can turn your camera on, I would appreciate it. And if you can't, that's okay too. Thank you, Constance Norris. Good to see you, brother. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the symptom of diabetes, which everybody knows. The symptom of diabetes is elevated glucose. But what most people don't know is, what is the disease of diabetes. The disease of diabetes is your body's inability to metabolize carbohydrate. That's what the disease is. Your body can't metabolize carbohydrate, and because of that, you have elevated glucose level in your blood. Well, if you have elevated glucose level in the blood, let's back up and talk about what's supposed to happen when you eat a potato. What's supposed to happen is you eat the potato, the carbohydrates convert to glucose, glucose starts building up in the bloodstream. This is supposed to happen because glucose is the body's form of energy. So as glucose builds up in the bloodstream, that sends a signal to your pancreas to make insulin. What's insulin's job? Insulin's job is function like a key that opens the door of your muscle cells and says, okay, glucose, come on into the muscle cell. That's where the glucose is supposed to go. Where is that glucose supposed to go that's built up in the bloodstream? It's supposed to go into your muscle cells and into your liver cells. And the body can then use that for energy, including your brain. Your brain uses glucose in order to function properly. All right. Well, if you have glucose built up in your bloodstream and it stays there, if it's not going down, why is that? We now know when it goes down, it's supposed to transport from the blood into the muscle cells and into the liver cells. Well, if it's staying built up, why is it? Why can't it get into the muscle cells? The answer is because you have fat already in your muscle cells. And your muscle cells are not designed to store fat. Your body is meant to store fat subcutaneously, meaning just under the skin. All over your body, just under your skin, in your face, in your chest, in your stomach, in your butt, in your feet. We've had people that had to change their shoe sizes because they lost so much weight. Your body is supposed to store fat under your skin all over your body. That's where it's supposed to store fat. But if it then leaks from subcutaneous into your muscle cells, that's a problem because your muscle cells are not designed to store fat. So it's fat in the muscle cell that's the problem, not the belly fat, not the fat that's stored subcutaneously. All right. Well, where did that fat in the muscle cell come from? We ever eat any of these fried chicken and ham and bacon and eggs and pizza and burger? Of course, all of these foods to us is normal. This is just normal eating for most of us, right? We grew up, we ate it all of our lives, and it's normal. And here's what I want you to know. When you eat these foods that are considered normal, you are eating saturated fat. That saturated fat gets in your bloodstream and you can see it. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is a blood sample given from a young 20-something-year-old college athlete after he ate a black bean burrito, no cheese, no meat, no sour cream. He gave the blood sample. They put it in the centrifuge, red blood cells at the bottom, liquid plasma up top, and you can see through that liquid plasma a little bit. Well, the very next day, he ate a beef burrito with cheese. Gave a blood sample, put it in a centrifuge, and my mouse is not acting right. Let me see if I can get it over here. Hold on. I don't know why my mouse is not acting right. Okay, now we go. Put it in a centrifuge, and the sample looked like that. Can you see the difference between this liquid plasma and this liquid plasma? What you're looking at here is saturated fat in the bloodstream. And every time you eat fried chicken, you eat mac and cheese, you eat pizza, you eat ham, you eat bacon and eggs, every time you eat an animal-based product, your blood looks like this. That's called lipemia. And when your blood looks like that, that is saturated fat in your blood. Now, you know your blood is coming in contact with every muscle cell in your body. And if that saturated fat that you can see right there on the right, if that saturated fat goes from your bloodstream into your muscle cell, glucose can't get in. Glucose is in the bloodstream. Glucose is trying to get in the muscle cell. But if you got fat in your muscle cell, glucose can't get in. So what happens to that glucose? It stays built up in the bloodstream. That is insulin resistance, and that is the cause of type 2 diabetes. Folks, diabetes is caused by saturated fat from eating animal-based foods. Meat, cheese, fish, dairy, eggs all have some things in common. Number one, they're all high in saturated fat. Number two, that saturated fat can cause insulin resistance. Number three, saturated fat impairs the signaling between insulin and the muscle cells. And they all have something else in common that's devastating. They're all low glycemic index foods. So your doctor is telling you to eat low glycemic index. So you run to the chicken, you run to the eggs, you run to the burger, but take the bun off, thinking that you're doing something, and you're putting more saturated fat into your muscle cell. That's like you're making the problem worse. So the dietary remission plan for diabetes is this. Number one, a whole food plant-based diet. What does that mean? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, lentils, split peas, chickpeas, potatoes, oatmeal, brown rice, and things that are grown from the ground. Food that is grown from the ground. And we were taught, but Vince, wait a minute. What about the sugar in fruit? Isn't that a problem? No, that is not a problem. Why? Because whole fruit is loaded with fiber, is loaded with water. It has vitamins, it has minerals, it has protein, it's got fat. And all of those elements in the whole food slows down the absorption. See, if you eat a potato and the carbohydrates convert to glucose, glucose gets in the bloodstream and it gets built up. And you think, well, the problem was the potato. I ate the potato and my glucose is high. I can't eat potatoes. That's logical. But you know what it misses? Well, why is it somebody else can eat a potato and their glucose goes up and it goes back down? Why is it when you eat a potato, your glucose goes up and it stays up? You see, the problem is not the potato. The problem is the saturated fat that you ate before you ate the potato. And if you stop eating saturated fat, and that saturated fat can drain out of your muscle cells, then glucose could come in without medication, and you have reverse type 2 diabetes. Wave at me if this is making sense. Wave at me if like they're like, oh my God, I never thought about it like that. Yeah, all right, excellent, excellent. That means I'm getting through. So step one is a whole food plant-based diet. Number two, you got to eliminate all animal foods and oil. Why the oil? Because oil is 100% fat. Let's look at the difference between an olive and the olive oil. An olive has protein, an olive has carbohydrate, an olive has fat, it has fiber, it has water, it has vitamins, it has minerals, and your body has to do some work to get the fat out of the olive. Now, what is olive oil? 100% fat. We throw away the carbs, we throw away the protein, we throw away the fiber, we throw away the vitamins, we throw away the minerals, and we just have pure 100% fat. That 100% fat can get into your bloodstream, from your bloodstream into your muscle cells, and that is part of the problem. Low glycemic index foods is number 3. I'm not saying low glycemic index doesn't mean anything, but that's just not the most important thing. And then we want to eat as much fiber as we can. Okay, and fiber only exists in plant-based food. There's no fiber in meat, cheese, fish, dairy, eggs. No fiber. Fiber is only in plant-based foods. So here is the summary shot. All of these foods that we grew up knowing and loving, that's all normal for us, including me before 2011. All of these foods are loaded with saturated fat. When we eat those foods, saturated fat gets into the bloodstream. Saturated fat goes from the bloodstream into your muscle cells and into your liver cells. And when fat is located in the muscle cells and the liver cells, that part right there is pre-diabetes. And you could be in pre-diabetes for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Because when you're in pre-diabetes, your pancreas will make 2 times or 5 times or 10 times the amount of insulin that's normal. But then at some point, the pancreas gets fat in it and it slows down the amount of insulin you're making, and then your glucose goes through the roof, and that is full-fledged diabetes. And I want you to know this slide right here is everything. Feel free to take a screenshot of that. Diabetes is caused by ectopic fat. What is ectopic fat? Ectopic fat is fat stored in cells that's not designed to store fat. Your pancreas is not designed to store fat. Your muscles are not designed to store fat. Your liver is not designed to store fat. But when fat is in those cells, that's what causes insulin resistance, and insulin resistance then causes type 2 diabetes. So we want you to eat fruits and vegetables and whole grains and legumes. These are unprocessed carbs. Eat all of the unprocessed carbs that you want. This is the key to long, healthy life. And I want to be clear, I'm not talking about these processed carbs. Don't be saying, well, Vince said I can eat carbs, so I'm just eating these carbs. No, I ain't saying you can eat those kind of carbs. All right, so that gets to myth number 1. There's no cure for type 2 diabetes. Once a diabetic, always a diabetic. The truth is, type 2 diabetes is caused by fat in your muscle cells, your liver cells, and your pancreas cells. And that fat came from the food, and it can be reversed from the food. That's myth number 1. Now, real fast, I got to answer a question that I know some of you are thinking, but Vince, if I don't eat meat, where am I getting my protein, man? Come on, brother. You need that protein from meat. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. This is Kendrick Farris. He was in the London Olympics for weightlifting, and he does not eat meat. He gets his protein by eating plant-based foods. This is the strongest man in the world, Patrick Baboumian. This thing on his neck is a yoke that weighs 1,200 pounds. He carried it for 30 feet. And he does not get his protein from meat. He is plant-based. This is Derek Morgan, plays football for Tennessee Titans, or he used to. He's retired now. He does not eat meat. He gets his protein from plant-based diet. This is Torrey Washington. Now look at his body, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, does this guy look like he is deficient in protein? And this man has never eaten meat a day in his life.
Wow.
Never. Look at this guy, Nimai Delgado, cover of Muscle and Fitness, has never eaten meat a day in his life. And I don't want to leave out the women. I'm a big tennis fan. I've been following Venus Williams since she was 11 years old. She and Serena and her dad, Richard. Venus came down with a autoimmune disease called Sjogren's syndrome about 15 years ago. It took her off the tour, and she found out about plant-based nutrition, that it can reverse many forms of autoimmune disease. She reversed it, and she was able to come back on the tour. She too gets her protein from a plant-based diet. And I gotta say that this is myself. My wife took this picture of me right as I was about 60 years old, and I wanted to put on more muscle. I thought that I was too thin. And this is me about 15 pounds later that I put on that muscle with no meat, no protein powders. I'm now 62 years old, and I am proof that just an average, ordinary guy can put on muscle by eating plants with no protein powder. All the protein I eat, I just eat oatmeal, I eat fruits and vegetables, I eat beans. I just eat. When I'm hungry, I eat. Simple. And I got to show you Chef Babette. Now, this woman here is 73 years old. Does she look like she's deficient in protein or look like that body looking pretty good? At 73, she has not eaten meat since 1990. All right. All right. And the longest living people in the world are in the blue zones. Highest concentration of people that live to be 100. And they eat primarily a plant-based diet. And the last thing I'll say is if an 18,000 pound elephant that only eats plants, your little 150, 200 little pound body, you think you can't get the protein from the plants in an 18,000 pound? And then look, if you think you're eating a cow, oh, I'm getting my protein from eating beef. What do cows eat? Cows don't eat meat. Well, where they get their protein from? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? All right, we've been brainwashed. That's been the meat industry. We've been brainwashed to think that we must get our protein from meat, and that's myth number 2. We can get all the protein we need from a plant-based diet. All right, I'm running out of time here, so let me get to this weight loss thing. All right, how can you lose weight without ever being hungry? The answer is in something called calorie density. Calorie density will allow you to eat as much food as you want. Don't count calories, don't count carbs, don't reduce your portion size. On average, people will lose 1 to 10 pounds in 5 days. The average is 4 pounds in 5 days. That's average, never being hungry. And it works even if you don't exercise. Don't get me wrong. I want you to exercise. It's as important as your diet. But for weight loss, exercise is almost nothing, because exercising, burning more calories is going to make you more hungry. So if you don't have the food right, it's a lot easier to eat 500 calories of bad food than it is to burn 500 calories from exercise. So for most people that are going to the gym thinking they're losing weight, if they don't fix the food, for most people that doesn't work. All right, so let's talk about calorie density. What is calorie density? It's the number of calories in 1 pound of food. So here is a chart from low to high on the calorie density. The very bottom of the chart is water, because water doesn't have any calories. Now that might sound trivial, but that is a very important factor in our weight loss strategy. The fact that water doesn't have any calories, but water does have mass. Then the next lowest calorie dense item is vegetables, then fruits, then oats or whole grains, then beans. Then we get into our animal-based foods, and then breads, and then dried fruit. And I want you to see the difference between the calorie density of a grape, which is like 200-300, but the calorie density of a raisin is like 4 to 5 times that amount. What's the difference between a raisin and a grape? You take the water out. Well, you take the water out, the calorie density goes up. We want you to be eating that water that's in the grape. That makes the calorie density lower. Then sugars, then cheese, then junk food. And the item that is the highest calorie dense food on the planet is oil. Now, let me give you a couple of examples so that this chart will make sense, because right now these are just numbers. So let's bring it to something that we all have seen before. That's a little bag of Doritos, less than 3 ounces. You can see my hand on the side of this bag. Tiny bag, 410 calories. All right, 2.75 ounces, 400 calories. I want to hear some guesses. To eat 410 calories of cantaloupe, how many ounces do you think you have to eat? Now, if this is 2.75, how many ounces do you think you got to eat to get the same calories of cantaloupe? Maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe, how about 44 ounces? That is literally 16 times more food. Look at what I'm saying here. You know we can smash a whole bunch of these little bags, but 44 ounces of cantaloupe is 2 cantaloupes. Can you eat 2 cantaloupes at one time? Probably not. Probably not. But that's 410 calories of cantaloupe, 410 calories of chips, no problem. Do you see my point? When you look at foods with a low calorie density, just eat as much as you want. You're going to get full. Next example, Snickers bar, less than 2 ounces. But how many ounces of watermelon? 29, 15 times more food. You can't eat 2 pounds of watermelon. Or if you do, I mean, you're like, man, that's a lot. But you can easily eat this and you're not full at all. Last example, Reese's Cups. 2.4 ounces is 400 calories. You got to eat 9 oranges to get the same calories as this Reese's Cup. So I got this image right here of 500 calories in the stomach. This is 500 calories of oil is nothing. Nothing. Your body got to deal with 500 calories, but you're nowhere near being full. 500 calories of cheese, of meat, of whole grains, and of fruits and vegetables. So here's the point. Here's the point. I'm going to go back to my calorie density chart. I drew that red line right there and say, if you eat the foods below the red line, you can eat as much as you want and you just get full before you take in too many calories. The reason why 80% of Americans are overweight is because most of the foods that we're eating are up here. They're heavily processed foods with a high calorie density. And what that means is you eat very little food, but you take in a lot of calories. So you're always in a calorie surplus. But if you eat foods below the red line, you just get full and stop eating. And you're in a calorie deficit. Well, let me show you some examples. This is a gallon of water. Anybody know how much a gallon of water weighs? How much do you think a gallon of water weighs? All right, well, I'm running out of time, so I'll just tell you, a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. And if y'all heard Stacy talking before, for those of you that came on early, you heard Stacy talking about how many gallons. She's close to her 2-gallon mark. So what we do is we ask people to take pictures holding a gallon of water for every 8 pounds they lose. Now, I remember she lost 8 pounds. She lost her 1 gallon during my 5-day challenge. And here she is with 3 gallons. And here this lady is with 5 gallons. And this lady has 6 gallons, lost 48 pounds. I got another picture of her. This is when she was at 4 gallons. I got another picture of her later on. Tomasa with 6 gallons. This is holding her 4 gallons. And you see, we just got pictures after pictures after pictures after pictures. I don't know how many gallons there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gallons. There's Dinah with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gallons. What's 8 times 8? 64. That's her 64 pounds lost. This Dr. Sybil with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gallons. Tanya's been with us for a long time. She's lost up to 5 gallons. Now, I call Miss Elaine the backwards aging woman. Doesn't she look younger here than she does here? And this woman here is 73 years old.
Wow.
And this is after she lost 10 gallons worth. This is Miss Annie, and Annie lost 6 gallons. But the amazing story with Miss Annie is when she started with us about a year ago, or a little over a year ago, she had type 2 diabetes and she was in stage 5 kidney failure. She had chronic kidney disease and her kidney was not functioning well at all. And a few months in, she was off all of her diabetes medication and her kidney function. When you're in stage 5, the doctors are like, you need to be on dialysis and you need a transplant. And she joined my program. She said, Vince, is there any chance that this can save my kidney? I said, Annie, I don't give medical advice, so I can't make you any promises, but I have seen kidney disease get reversed. And she said, you gave me hope. And here she is a year later, and her kidneys are functioning much better. She didn't get on dialysis, and she didn't get a transplant. So she's doing super well. She lives in Alaska. Selenay with 7 gallons. Oh my goodness. And Lakeisha, who is a rock star, who is down over 100 pounds in a year. Andrea, that's 13 gallons. And I just want you to know myth number 3 is the only way to lose weight is to go hungry and exercise. The fact is, when you eat below the red line, you can eat as much as you want and you can still lose weight. Now, we are in a 5-day challenge right now. It started yesterday, but you can still join and hear my talk tonight on how to reverse cancer. Tomorrow, my talk is how to reverse heart disease. Thursday, we're going to tell you how do you do this for a lifetime, not using willpower. And so all of those, you can feel free to take a screenshot of this. And my red line challenge, I want to make available for everybody. So I only charge $7. You hear what I'm saying? Life-saving information for literally $7. Now, we have VIP sessions at the end of our session today and tomorrow. And we have extra content that you can download on VIP. VIP is normally $97. But for you, if you go to this redlinespecial.com, or you can click the QR code right there, it's special for $67. Now, that is worth hundreds of dollars, but it's available to you at a $30 discount because you came to this presentation. Now, I get you probably haven't, this is all new for you. I understand. But hearing these live presentations and seeing what this can do to people's lives is so worth everything. Now, I'm going to stop my screen share, and I'm just going to ask Stacy, who invited me to this talk. I'm going to ask Stacy to come off of mute and explain and share with you, since she is one of your Elizabeth's Rising, Grand Rising. And I'm going to ask Elizabeth to share, Stacy to share with you what she has experienced in my program and what she has seen firsthand.
Okay, so when I joined this program, one of my main reasons for joining this program was to lose weight and also community, because I feel like it's so important to be aligned with like-minded people who have the same goal and direction that you're going in, to have someone that you can be able to share your life's experience with and your journey along the way. When I started this Red Line Challenge, I felt so good, like within the first week. And I was like, wow, you mean to tell me for the first time in my life that I finally listened to that voice in me that told myself to stop dieting? This, you don't really have to diet. You just stay below the red line, eat as much. When I say eat as much as you want to eat, oh my God, I'm so excited about that. I eat potatoes, I eat rice, I eat, oh my gosh, I eat whatever I want to eat. Yesterday, you know, I fried potatoes with onions that I fried in tahini and water. And it was so good. My husband ate half of it when I didn't. It was mine. I'm like, where is my potatoes? You ate half. What? You gonna make some more? But anyway, I'm telling you, I can eat whatever I want to eat below the red line. I ate almost 6 cups of watermelon for breakfast yesterday. And the thing about this is when you eat below the red line, when your body gets the nutrients that it needs, you really are not hungry. You have to force yourself to eat, but you can just keep eating and eating and eating and eating. I'm telling you, I can make me a big old potato. I can put mounds and mounds of vegetables on top of it where I can't even finish the whole potato. It'll take me an hour to eat that potato. I can eat as much fruit as I want, as much vegetables. I cook beans all the time. I eat rice all the time. And guess what? There are so many recipes that you can tailor make for yourselves to make these foods taste exactly like you want them to taste. All you have to do is change some seasonings and different stuff like that. But I have lost almost 16 pounds. I am 6.4 ounces away from holding my matter of fact, I'm gonna post it before I hold it. How about that? And I'm gonna let them know I got 6.4 ounces to go. And this is what I'll be looking like. And I'm telling you, I've lost some weight. I don't know if y'all know what I looked like before. Some of y'all know what I looked like before, but I am telling you, I am so geeked. Why? Let me calm down. Because I know that finally, for the first time in my life, I don't have to diet anymore. I can eat what I like when I like. And I feel like I know some of you people are on here are Christians, and you know how when you become a Christian, you have to repent and you have to change your ways and you have to change your direction and go in another direction and go God's way. Well, that's what I feel like about this diet. I feel like I've repented. I feel like I don't have to eat that way anymore. I don't have to be a slave to junk food, to processed foods. My taste buds change so much. When I look at a fried chicken, I do. When I look at stuff, when I go to the grocery store and I pass the meat section, your senses are heightened and you can smell the blood in the food. You can smell what it smells like when it's being butchered. I literally get disgusted when I walk past that. And it's just not in my real house anymore. I feel like my life has changed forever. And that's the main thing this red line challenge has done for me. It's changed my life, literally. Like, I'm like, I can't even, I have tears in my eyes right now, people, because of what this has done for me and what I see that it's going to do for me. I am never leaving this community because there are people here in this community, just like we have here in Grand Rising Elizabeth, that we love every last one of our Elizabeths and our Elizabeths. This community is the same way. There are people in this community that you share your experiences with that are life changes that keeps you going in the right direction. So join tonight. Click that link. Get on. Let's do it, y'all. And I
have a question.
Right now.
Joy has a question or a comment.
Okay, Joy, what's up?
Yes, Grand Rising, everyone. Really good information, Vince. Really good information.
Thank you.
I wanted to know with the $69, what is that, a lifetime membership or what is it?
Yeah, so those $67 will get you into, that'll get you into VIP. Now, Stacy will tell you, VIP is normally $97.
Right, I got that.
But for those of you that are on this call right here, only through that link right there, the redlinespecial.com, that's the only link that'll get you to it being 67. So what is VIP? We have main coaching. We've got main presentation sessions that start at 6 p.m. But then at the end of the main session, we have a separate Zoom link just for the VIP folks where we train extra information. And tomorrow, on Wednesday, the VIP is all on Q&A. Now, that is going to be really important because I'm an expert on reversing chronic disease. You can sit down and ask me, and if you want a session with me one-on-one, it's $200 an hour. And I get people all the time that, Vince, can I just pick your brain? Sure, $200 an hour. Send me an invoice. That happens. But in addition to me, you got my two business partners that have run plant-based restaurants. So you can ask them, Man, how do you make greens good without putting ham hock in there? How do you cook the beans without putting a turkey wing in, so you can ask them different things on cooking. Plus, we have extra content. So VIP, you really want to be a part of VIP for the Q&A, for the extra teaching sessions, and we have downloaded tips also that you'll get extra for 67.
So this is basically a community that you're building of plant-based people and just information to reverse different ailments.
That's correct. It's basically you get these extra sessions. Yeah, you get extra sessions because we have like 300 and something people that are in this challenge. And so we can't answer questions from 300 and something people on a Zoom, but in the Q&A or in the VIP session, there's like, I don't know, 30 or 40 people in that. So it's a lot less. So we can do Q&As in the Zoom in the VIP. We can't do that in the main session.
Okay, great. Deitra?
Yes. Thanks for sharing what you have, Vince. Truly. I have a question. What is your opinion of ghee? Ghee.
Yes, ghee is clarified butter. All butter, oil, these things are 100% fat that you need to avoid. If you want to lose weight, if your goal is weight loss, 100% fat is the worst thing that you can eat. Because if I put in this cup right here and said, what's the most calories I could put in this cup? I could put whatever I want in this cup, and I want to put the most calories possible. What am I going to put in here? 100% oil. Oil, butter, ghee, fat, 100% fat is more calories per pound in fat than anything else. And if you have diabetes, you want to avoid if you have diabetes because then that fat gets into the bloodstream and that can get in the muscle cell. And if you have heart disease, you absolutely want to avoid all butter, ghee, oil, and eat whole plant-based foods. Think of oil almost like the equivalent of what sugar is, raw sugar, right? Raw sugar is you just take the carbohydrate out. Well, oil is you just take the fat out. But the goal is to eat the whole food that's got the carbohydrate and the protein and the fat in a whole food and let your body separate it into the components.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, my question is, okay, you're in the midst of it now. You're one day in, Vince. Where'd you go? There you go. And when do you start it again? That's one of the questions. And we see the link. How do we find the link? Because this is on the screen.
I will put it in I'll put the actual red line special. Give me 1 second. I'll drop it in the chat right now. Red.
And when will you be doing it again? Is this ongoing or?
Yeah, we run them about every 3 to 4 weeks. The next one, I got a big calendar on the wall, so I'm looking over here at my calendar. Today is the 17th. The next one will be July the 7th, but we probably won't have that special for VIP for that next one. That's only when I do live presentations. So the advantage to getting into this one is you can join VIP for 67. But the challenge itself is only 7, and it'll be 7 for the next one as well.
Okay. Also, Vince, as Joy was asking, so we join with the VIP now. If we join again, when you do your next presentation, and we want to still join, do we have to pay it again?
So yes, if you want to go through the challenges, you can go through as many challenges as you want. We've had people go through a lot of challenges because, like you heard my diabetes talk today, and that was part of it. That wasn't the whole one because I wanted to shorten it to get it in. But people, because it's a lot of information, right? And so you're not going to pick up 100% of the information on every presentation on going through it once. So many people go through the challenge time after time after time after time. And every time you go through, it's either $7 if you just want to, go through it without VIP, or if you want to go through it on VIP, it's normally 97, but right now it's 67. And I put the link to Redline Special in the chat, so now you should be able to just click on that link. You can just click on that, and that should pull up the website to register.
Okay, we have one more, and then we'll need to close. Evelyn?
No oils. I mean, because I like salad. I like salads, and I like dressing on my salads.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And also, when I like to roast vegetables, so
we can help you with that. All of these questions right here are normal, and that's why Roland, my partner, and Mary Beth, they will tell you how to do all of that without oil. I'll tell you what they'll say on roasting. So first of all, on salads, we've got a bunch of different salad dressings that you can make on your own without oil. On roasting vegetables, you can use a combination of take some avocado, which is high in fat, blend it with a little bit of water, and you can put that on your vegetables and then put the seasoning on it. Or you could do the same thing with nuts, or you could do the same thing with seeds. But I think for roasting vegetables, I think his recommendation is avocado, blend with water, put that in a blender, and so that it comes out with the same consistency that butter would, and then you put that on your vegetables and put seasonings in that, and that's how we can solve that for you.
Awesome. Stacy?
Okay, so I am thanking all of you, Elizabeth, and all of my friends and everybody that I invited to this Zoom today for showing up today. This has been some powerful information, and I know without a doubt that this information can change your life. And I want to say thank you for coming. And as we always do on the Grand Rising Elizabeth show, when we end the show, we want to tell you to love on yourself. Give yourself a big hug. Love yourself. Kiss yourself. Do what you need to do for yourself. And then we want to reach out and we want to hug the world because we love the world. Bring them in close, give them a hug and tell them how much you love them. We're going to sprinkle a little love throughout the world and going to tell you to go out and have a great day on purpose and love on yourself and do your body right. Take care of the body that you live in because it's the only body that you have. And so if you want to join us on every Tuesday, Health and Wellness Transformation Tuesday, we're here every Tuesday from 9 to 10. And I'm so glad to see you. And you guys have a great and amazing day.
And we're also here every day, the same time, 9 to 10, Monday through Friday, different topics, different hosts. Feel free to come. Same number. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.